afternoon or good morning, everybody, depending where you are coming from. We are talking to you today from Germany, so we have afternoon already. Welcome to our webinar about the ABBYY FineReader Engine. My name is Eva Weber. I am the product marketing manager at ABBYY, and I am responsible for the technology licensing products. And I am accompanied today by my colleague Stefan Schmeinter, who is working as a solution architect. And we are very happy today because we are starting a new series of webinars around the technical aspects of the ABBYY FineReader Engine. This webinar is mainly for developers or software engineers, software integrators that look for an easy way to extend their own application. So we will be quite technical today. I will do a short introduction and my colleague Stefan will then go through the code and show you some tips and tricks how to work with the ABBYY FineReader Engine. Here you can see the agenda. I will very shortly introduce our company and the product, and then I will give the word over to Stefan, who will do the fun part, the live demo with some code explanations. Before we start, as usual, I have to inform you that we had to mute your lines. We want to avoid background noises, but I would like to encourage you to communicate with us. You have the possibility to ask us questions anytime, through the chat part of your application. We have another nice colleague in the background, Mr. Peter Fischer, who is ready to answer to you immediately. Please ask right away. We have the experience that we get very, very busy towards the end of the webinar. In case we get too busy and we cannot answer to you, your question will be registered and then we will reach out to you per email. So those were the housekeeping topics, and I will now start with ABBYY. ABBYY, as you might know, celebrated 30 years anniversary last year. We have been on the market since the year 1989. Today, we are a worldwide operating software company with a broad portfolio of products for enterprise companies, but as well with some attractive offerings for other software companies who license our technologies. This will be the topic actually today. We have very many big customers. This is a slide from our marketing department, which is saying that the 5 of the top 10 global banks are among our companies, but we have as well many partners and customers among, for example, the providers of hardware, many scanner providers, such as, for example, Fujitsu, are implementing our software in their offerings, but as well very many software providers are offering or extending the application with our software. Those are traditionally from the document management system, for example, but as well we have very many providers that deliver solutions, for example, for manufacturing. And lately we see a lot of demand with the booming robotic process automation. If you look at the market of the robotic process automations, I believe 9 of the 10 leading vendors are extending their offerings with our technologies. The robots basically are able to read documents and process information with the help of the OCR and data capture technologies from ABBYY. One of them is, for example, the company UiPath. We do conduct extensive research and development activities, especially in the area of artificial intelligence, and this business, this conducting of research has resulted in more than 400 patents or patent applications. This is our internal treasury, but as well we were acknowledged and rewarded last year officially or by an independent market research company. The company is called Everest Group, and they appointed us as a leader in document processing applications, which was a good honor to us. So that's about company. We have an impressive portfolio of products. I was thinking before I started this presentation what might be else interesting to you. And this is basically the screenshot from our web page. And this is a list of software development kits. The ABBYY FineReader Engine will be the topic today. This is only one of them. We have as well toolkits that you can integrate for data capture, as for example the FlexiCapture SDK. This is a relatively new product which replaced our previous product FlexiCapture Engine. And we have offerings for processing data in the cloud. We offer a cloud service. The Cloud OCR SDK is one product. FlexiCapture Cloud API is the another version of our cloud offering. And in case you are as well offering your clients or your internal clients mobile applications, mobile apps, we as well provide some toolkits in this area, the mobile web capture and mobile capture. I am just listening this. This is not the topic of our presentation, but we always get questions about other products. I wanted to say that we have recorded webinars about almost every product. So should you be interested to get more insights into some other areas of ABBYY, you can write me an email. I will provide you additional information. But the topic of today is the ABBYY FineReader Engine 12. This is a OCR toolkit, which is based on artificial intelligence. They use very many machine learning technologies. And if you integrate this SDK into your application, you can quickly achieve a new level of quality, new level of functionality that you do not need to develop yourself, but you will get it from us basically as our licensee. This is a short overview of the functionality we offer in this product. You can integrate a very strong image processing and image pre-processing capabilities. This is very important, of course, for the recognition results, improving basically the input documents to be able to read the data more precisely. We offer text recognition, the OCR capabilities for more than 200 languages. It's actually the actual number right now is 210, among them some exotic languages such as, for example, Chinese, Japanese, Korean, Vietnamese, Arabic OCR. We are the market leader in the number of languages. You won't find anybody else, I think, that would cover such an impressive language portfolio. We as well offer you with this development kit the recognition of hand-printed text, as you would find, for example, in applications forms where customers or clients would enter their personal data per hand, and a company then do not need to employ somebody to retype it. The data can be extracted by our technologies. Other examples are the recognition of barcodes or the recognition of optical marks. You would find them on multiple choice tests, for example, or surveys. And with the Engine 12, we added intelligent document classification, which is based on artificial technologies, where you can actually deploy quickly document classification. When you have a couple of examples of each document class, you can train the classificator very, very quickly, easily optimize it later as well with the information you have in your company, for example, your clients have. Later during the life cycle already, we added document comparison technologies. Document comparison allows you to compare two versions of a document and find even slight changes in a text, regardless of what format you are using. For example, you can compare a scanned contract or PDF contract with the version that came back per fax machine, and detect if the contract was not, for example, manipulated in any way. So document comparison technologies are very, very strong. We have traditionally some of data capture in this toolkit. Typically, it was the recognition of business cards called BCR, and later we added as well the recognition of the machine readable zones in IDs that was happening is in during the life cycle. This is my message to our existing customers. If you have an older version than release 4 update 1, please go to our web page and download the latest technologies to enjoy all the edit capabilities which we did during the past months. Obviously, we have as well very strong PDF creation capabilities. We can open PDF, extract information, but we can as well create PDF from whatever the input document was, if it was a Word document or a scan or scanned PDF, for example. This was really a short overview. If you would like to see more details, you can of course go onto our webpage. I just wanted to introduce the product very quickly to newcomers, and now we will move to the actual demo, to the fun part, and I will give the word to my colleague Stefan Schmeinter. So I will, just a second, I will change him as a attendee, and he can take it over from here.
Okay, thank you very much, Eva, for the setup and the introduction. Hello, good afternoon, everybody. My name is Stefan Schmeinter. As Eva mentioned already, I work at the customer enablement team here at ABBYY as a solution architect. And yeah, I'm very happy to talk a little bit about the FineReader Engine today, show you a little bit how nice and easy it is to get started, to start integrating our technologies, start developing an application around it, and how to get started, basically. Before we jump into the demo, just really quickly what I'm about to say today. I'll give you a really quickly a kind of a license overview, because of course, depending on the type of application or service maybe that you are planning to provide or to build, there might be a different license option required. Then we will go quickly through the installation. It will take like 1 or 2 minutes, which gives me the chance to talk about some more licensing details or some more insight. And then we actually jump into the code, and we will start with a nice and small hello project, which will basically show us the fundamentals of document conversion and OCR, well, optical character recognition. Yeah, before we also jump into a second project about image pre-processing, just as a small guideline. Okay, first of all, the licensing model. So usually when you plan to, you want to trial FineReader Engine, for example, you're interested in the technology, you would receive a trial license, which is actually a developer trial license, of course, which gives you the ability to, well, develop your own application around it and to start integrating FineReader Engine into your existing application, depending on the use case. For the actual productive environment, you would, of course, need some kind of developer license to actually develop and build the application and also to maintain it. But you would also receive one or multiple runtime licenses, again, depending on the use case or the scenario. The license model itself, or how the license itself will look like, could also depend on the use case or the scenario. So the default trial license, basically, if you would acquire one from our website, you would receive a license that you would install on your local machine. You would activate the license over the internet with the ABBYY licensing service, and you're good to go. If you already know beforehand that you plan to maybe work within virtual environments, maybe you plan to build an application that you roll out with in containers, like in Docker containers, for example, a different license might be used. For example, an online license, which is basically a pre-activated license that you would just roll out with a token and a password, basically. If you know these information beforehand, best reach out to your sales manager, responsible sales manager, and ask him for a kind of a modified trial license. Okay, I will just quickly run an installation video. I actually don't want it to install the SDK during this webinar. So I just let it run through. Apologies for the poor quality, but I'm sure everybody saw how software is installed, so it should be nothing new for you. Basically, once you contact our website, abby.com, navigate to the developer tools page and hit the request trial button for FineReader Engine. you will receive an email, which I just copied into the stock file on the screen that you can see, which will contain then your customer project ID and the actual serial number. You will have a download link which forwards to ABBYY Technology Portal, where you actually download the FineReader Engine SDK, and some user credentials you will need to log into the actual technology portal. Once you downloaded the SDK, the distributive, the only thing you need to do is actually start the installation process. Nothing too fancy here, but it will give me the opportunity to give you some details about the customer project ID and the serial number, because we keep getting questions about, well, the differences, the necessity of both of them. So let's just wait until the customer project ID is required. So during the installation, you need to enter your customer project ID, which is basically your own unique ID. Depending on the type of application you build or the type of application you're trying to develop, you might receive one or multiple customer project IDs, and one customer project ID might have one or multiple serial numbers below. So it depends really on the use case and how you plan to roll out your application. All right, once the installation is done, the last step basically would be to actually start the license manager. If you already have FineReader Engine somewhere or a ABBYY SDK somewhere in your on-premise and on-prem environment, there might be already a license server available. Then you could just connect to it. In this case, we install the fresh license manager and enter a serial number, activate it over the internet, and that's basically everything that you need to get it started. Okay, looks good. Okay, yeah, we see our developer trial, which is activated over the internet. We see the limitation and the serial number project ID. Okay, and install, we see in the start menu, we see the installed FineReader entry. Okay, from where this video just stopped, I will continue in my actual virtual machine. So we see the same as we saw on the actual video. We see FineReader Engine installed, a code samples library, developer's guide, the license manager we just saw. So yeah, that's basically all we need to get started. I mentioned, or I showed you in the agenda, that we will start with a small hello sample, basically. So the first steps of how to get started with document conversion and recognition. So I'm just going to open the code samples library. Okay, there we see kind of pre-compiled samples included, and also the source code of how to, well, start with some FineReader Engine basics, how to get started. When scrolling down, you can also see different development languages, which of course the samples are provided in multiple development languages. Choose the one which you plan to work with. And even further down, there's some more demonstrations, maybe some more use case specific, like a classification sample, document comparison sample that Eva talked about earlier. So nice and easy to get started, or maybe multi-core batch recognition, how to work with parallel processing. So nice and easy to get started. It's really a product team made a very good job to have everything prepared and get started and get an idea how it actually works. Just to align everybody's expectations, as Eva mentioned, this is the first video of a continuing series, and the webinar today is called "Get Started with FineReader Engine." So we're not gonna develop a new space shuttle software. We're just really gonna get started and then see how easy and simple it is to actually get started with the FineReader Engine SDK and how to work with documents and OCR technology. I opened the convert document code sample. I can actually just run the pre-compiled sample. We won't see a lot here, but this is all it happens. So the engine will be initialized. some sample image will be loaded, will be recognized, and the OCR results will be saved and stored on our file system. Okay, that's basically our minimum steps that we need to take when working with FineReader Engine. Okay, what actually happened here, we will take a look at the source code and see if we can actually modify the source code and maybe upgrade it a little bit. I'm gonna open the C# sample in this case. Here's the solution file for this hello sample. Okay. Takes longer than usual. I think Murphy's law applies again. Okay, there we are. Okay, so we opened the solution, the source code of our hello code sample, of a default document conversion sample, let's say. Just gonna navigate to this to the actual design. And let's see what happens once I hit this go button, what actually happens in here. Okay, so first the engine will be actually loaded. Then we will process the engine, or we process with the engine what our images, and we unload it. Okay, these are our basic steps. And the process actually sets up the FineReader Engine maybe with some profiles that are predefined with some basic setups, and then we actually process the image. Let's actually jump to this definition. Okay, the process image is, as you can imagine, the most important method in this sample, and in here all the magic happens. So what happens? We have an image path, or basically our source image that is specified. Next up, we have a small method that actually checks if the source image is, for example, a PDF document that already contains a text layer, then it would not be necessary to run OCR again. So we will just store the text layer into our results, just to check. Next up, we create the actual document object. Into this document, we're actually going to load the specified source image. We're going to run the processing, save the results, and then we export them to our file system as we need it. Okay, let's actually use this code and adapt this to our demo image that we see something, some results. I just prepared a demo TIFF file, so a 2-page TIFF in English. Okay, nothing too fancy, looks good. Let me just copy the path to the actual image. Right here. Whoop. Okay, that looks good. I'm just not gonna make it nice and generic. It should just be really an easy startup, and I'm just gonna hard code the actual source image. Okay, next up, I actually can ignore this method because we don't specify a PDF document, so it's not gonna check if there's actually a text layer behind. And lastly, I want to also modify the export because I want to save the information also in my output folder in this case. Just gonna copy this path. Okay, and I also don't need the combination of the path. Okay, same here. Right there. Whoops. And there's one bracket. Okay, looks good. No red underlining. That's always a good sign. Okay, let's fire it up and just debug it and see how it looks like. Okay, I'm already in the output folder, so we should receive some results once I hit the go button. Okay, loading the image, recognition. And okay, we save a RTF file as an export result and a PDF file. Okay, that happened. That's okay. Let's just take a look. All right, the PDF looks nice, and we see we added the text layer basically. Okay, nice and easy. That looks good. What I want to do next is I'm gonna go to the input file again, and I've actually the same document, but I also have one version in Russian. It's, as you can see, it's actually the same document, but it is translated in Russian. So I want to do the same thing. I'm just gonna copy actually the file name, the file name. I don't need to change the path again, just the name of the source image and also the export name. Okay. You know what? Actually, I don't need the RTF file in this case. I'm just going to switch it to TXT, and I'm also just need to change the export format to the text Unicode. Okay, that looks good. Just gonna press F5 again to fire it up. Again, I'm gonna hit the Go button. I'm gonna navigate to the output folder, and let's see what happens there. I don't have the image open, I believe. No. Okay, there we go. Took a little too long. Okay, we got some results. When I open the TXT file, we immediately see, okay, the first line is actually okay, ABBYY FineReader OCR, because it is actually in the source image also in Latin characters. But we see these characters, it's not really Russian because it's Latin characters. And we know the Russian language is based on Cyrillic characters. So, okay, that's something is missing. I know in this case that the default conversion or the default recognition, especially in this code sample, is predefined in English. So, okay, I need to actually switch the language. I need to specify the Russian language to be able to detect it. Okay, what I would do if I wouldn't know where to look, actually, I would actually just open up the developer's help. And I'm just gonna search for something, what I need to do to actually switch the language. Just a second. So when I just type in language, I see, okay, there's already something predefined language. That sounds good. Working with languages, yeah, that's about it, I think. There is, of course, different ways how to work with languages. So, for example, predefined languages is probably the most common use case. Just to, you heard earlier from Eva that we provide more than 200 languages with the FineReader Engine SDK to recognize and to work with. So using one of the predefined languages might be a good idea. Of course, more complex use cases can be built when creating maybe a custom dictionary that is based on some languages, really depending on the use case. Or maybe you plan to build your own dictionary around it using different sets of languages. This could be done, of course. For this use case, just to set the recognition to Russian language in this case, I think it's enough actually to use the recognizer parameter and to set the predefined text language to Russian. So I actually know how to do it. I would go a little bit deeper and get some insights, what method is actually necessary. Let's just add this functionality to our code. Again, I'm not gonna put it in a separate object or class. I'm just gonna add it in here, quick and dirty. So first up, I need to change some, I need to create some document processing parameter. Just gonna call him DPP. And the engine loader will create the actual parameters. Okay. Then I need the recognizer parameter. We saw that in the actual help file. Recognizer params, that sounds good. And they are created by the document processing. And okay. And now I actually call the recognizer params and call the set predefined language method. And I'm gonna add my language, my desired language of Russian in here. Of course, I don't only need, I can't only just set the predefined language to one language. Of course, I could define a set of multiple languages, which I actually need also in this case, because we saw earlier there were some words with FineReader, OCR, Microsoft, Word, and so on. And those again are Latin-based characters, so I need to add English there as well. Okay, that's actually all it takes to change the predefined languages for the recognition. The only thing I should not forget is to actually pass the document processing parameter to the process method. All right. Let's build this application again. Hit the go button. And in any second, we should receive a new PDF and text file that hopefully will recognize the Russian language correctly. Okay, it's here. Okay, yeah, that looks good. So as we see, the first line again was the actual FineReader Engine OCR text. Or right here, also the Latin-based characters are recognized, but more importantly, actually the Cyrillic characters are has been recognized and saved into the actual result file. Okay, that's as easy as it gets when starting with FineReader Engine, when starting with document conversion and recognizing languages, basically. Of course, the more complex the use case, the more complex the scenario or the functionality that I'm trying to build, the more complex the actual application will be. So I assume your end application will not be as easy and dirty as this sample right now. But again, it just shows how nice and easy it is to get started with FineReader Engine and to start working, basically. The only other thing that I wanted to show I had on the agenda is the image pre-processing. Because you can imagine when working with documents, or not just documents, but text and data, the actual conversion and recognition part is only one side of the entire scenario, but the other side is actually to make sure to have the best quality image that there is available. So make sure that it's not that is rotated correctly, make sure that it's maybe cropped, make sure there is no noise on the document. And this, for example, could be tested with the image pre-processing sample. I like to use that a lot, actually. I'm just gonna run the actual sample right here. Because I can only run OCR recognition or language extraction or data extraction on the document if it is good enough and if the quality is actually good enough of the actual document. So the other part is to make sure the image that I'm uploading to my application is actually good enough to work with. And how can I achieve that? Well, to take care of the actual image processing or pre-processing. For example, I like to use this sample very much just to load a sample image in here, a source image. I'm gonna leave the default one. Just hit the go button without any changes, and it will immediately show me how all the options that are selected or available affect the actual image. So I get a very good idea what I have to do, what I need to think of when working with different types of images, of sources, and so on. And also it gives me the information right away about a small a comparison from a before and after comparison. So before it was not able to detect anything on the document. After the correct orientation changes and the document could be recognized very, very well. So 2000 recognized characters and so on. So it gives a very good understanding how to work and how to approach actually when working with different source images. And I always keep saying documents, but I actually mean images. It's not limited to documents, of course. You could extract from basically images, from screenshots, from screens, whatever is the use case or whatever is necessary. Okay, that's as much as I wanted to say. I don't, as I mentioned before, it should be like the first webinar of a series that's not too long. It should just cover like the basic steps to get started with FineReader Engine. And yeah, at this step, I will give back to my colleague Eva, and she will continue.
Yes, thank you, Stefan. This was very interesting information. Thank you very much. And before we close our session, I would like to mention 2 spaces in the internet where you can find additional information. You should see my screen now. I hope it's working. Those are basically 2 areas, 2 spaces in the internet. One is our official webpage, abby.com/OCR SDK. This will give you general information about the product, features and benefits, technical specification you can check there. And this is a major advantage, you have the possibility to download a free trial and study the extensive documentation. But for developers, we have another portal, which is called ABBYY.technology, where we collect more the technical information, such as frequently asked questions, different comparison charts, and as well details for each new release. We maintain our products regularly. We have several product releases during the year where we add new features. So if you are interested, if you are our customers and are interested in the details of a latest release, obviously this information is then stored on this ABBYY.technology portal. Obviously, the best way actually to learn about the product is to test it. This is why I would like to encourage you actually to test the SDK. I already mentioned you can download the free trial directly from our webpage. This trial would be valid for 30 days. If you already know that you need longer, you have a bigger project or you need longer time, you can contact us directly. Then we can issue another process internally and give you a little bit longer time for 60 days. We would then arrange probably to the responsible person to get in contact with you. And if you need even longer, we are ready even to prolong. We are very, very flexible. And at the end, again, this is the web page address where you can download this trial and read more information, but you can as well contact us directly in case you did not have your questions answered. You can still write us afterwards or write right now your questions still into the chat function. We will get the questions logged and we will divide them among us and answer to you in the next days, probably tomorrow. So it's our first name and surname. It's very easy, or you can use as well only our surname. That would work as well. You can contact us directly. And before we close, I would like to thank you for your attention, and we would be very much interested if you can provide us feedback after the webinar is closed. You will be displayed a short questionnaire. We would be interested in your opinion, if you have ideas what you would like to learn in the future. As we mentioned, this is the first of a webinar series. The next one will be in March. We hope we see you as well, or you hear us. And this is as well your kind of opportunity to influence the content. If we see that there is a demand for a specific topic, we can adjust our plan and provide a webinar to this topic. So yeah, this is all from us today. We hope to talk to you again in March, and we wish you a very nice day and talk to you later. Bye-bye.